Hello Discord members, welcome to this weekend's analysis video. So remember, next week we're going to have a holiday, Labor Day on Monday, so it's going to be a short session. Markets will open as normal on Sunday night at 6 p.m., but on Monday we're going to close at 1 p.m. Eastern and then reopen again Monday night at 6 for Tuesday, okay? And that's where we're finally gonna get out of the summer markets and we'll be officially starting high volumes fall season trading. So if we open up our calendar for next week, you can see Monday, obviously nothing going on, holiday. Tuesday, ISM manufacturing PMI 10 a.m. Wednesday, JOLTS job openings. Thursday, ADP non-farm payrolls, service PMIs, unemployment claims, and Friday, non-farm payrolls and unemployment change. So overall, pretty heavy news week aside from Monday. So just something to be aware of all around those times. Now, if we go starting off with ES Weekly, you can see Thursday, we were printing a very nice weekly candle on Thursday, but then Friday, we did end up having a bearish day, which ended up giving us a pretty neutral looking candle. So we have just a small body right in the middle and then two rejection weeks on either side, but we did make a new all-time high this week. Nasdaq is lagging, as we're going to see. Daily chart, we had managed to finally close on Thursday above 65.05, which was big resistance previous, but now we're back inside of this, okay? So now main daily levels we're looking at 65.05 and then down below 64.30. We still have, this is our trend line up. So as I had mentioned before, we're making pretty much a macro megaphone pattern where market is just expanding. So we're looking at these two areas as pretty much the extremes of the megaphone. And if we do break to all-time highs, then this trend line is what I'm going to be using as a guide for a new profit target for a new all-time high level. 4 hour. So you can see we held extremely well right at the bottom of the node, and here we have also the weekly profile. So long-term weekly, this 64.50s area has been a massive level. You can also see the wick that we got down here on Wednesday as well. So pretty much the 64.50s has been the key area to hold all throughout the week. Zooming in, you can see the profile. So we did not test after the breakout on Thursday, but our first immediate level down would be 64.53, which you can see it's a big edge on the weekly profiles right here. We are closing right at the hourly level of 64.74. So next week, what I'm looking at is if we can flip this area for support, then 64.92 is our first immediate target up on this breakdown here on Friday. And then above that, 65.05 daily level, which is also the top edge of the high volume node. Down below, 64.53, 64.40. And then we have the daily level 64.30. Okay, so I would say definitely bulls do not want to see any closes through this daily level. We do have this other profile here. So if we do get, if market would break down here and we find ourselves breaking below this, then we could be accepting within this high volume node, and then we could be looking at a rejection on a back test of the high. But for now, let's see how any pullbacks react. And again, these are the main areas of support that we are now looking at. Potentially, we're going to see on the market profile that poor low we talked about a while back coming from this movement. So 64.06 will be the next hourly support right before that Friday breakout when Powell was speaking. Okay, so zooming out, the two high volume node ranges we are dealing with now and the areas that we want to see this holding. Again, if we do pull back, this I would expect resistance at this level or pushing up higher back into the top edge of the node. Okay. TPO or weekly profiles. So here you can see what I was talking about all last week. Pretty much this area here, super strong support into the 64.50s, going back 3 weeks of profiles right at the bottom edge of all this high volume nodes, and the one that we just developed this week right over here. So you can see all these ones are lining up. Okay, to the top side, we now have this area right here, which is the big resistance we were talking about. If we can flip this, get back inside of this range to support, and then our first immediate target will be the lows right over here. To the downside this week, you can see big support area right here. So any pullbacks, this is where I would like to see us supporting. If we have a strong break through this, then we're looking at the lows of Tuesday, and then potentially we could even come back and fill in the single prints here that we had from this breakout movement over here. TPO. So you can see this is the single prints that we've yet to fill right into that daily level, 64.30. Upside, we have a tiny single print here from the extended hours, but overall you can see B-shaped profile, which indicates this was a long covering day. So just very impulsive move down. And tick charts. If I zoom all the way out, you can see this spike lower on Wednesday. This was the general area that we also held on Friday. Zooming in, Friday, pretty much right at the open, we just started pushing down, and right around 10 o'clock, we started stabilizing and we left this big high volume node. We are closing right near the top edge of it at the 64.74 hourly. So the plan that I discussed is look for this to have a strong break, turn this to support, and then we're looking at 64.92, which was the resistance here on the overnight, Thursday night into Friday Europe morning. Downside, looking at support into the bottom edge of the weekly node and the session node, right around the 64, 61, 60 area. And then below this, 64.53 hourly level. And finishing with the 5 minutes. You can see overall overnight open, just mostly sideways action, and then right when Europe opened around 3 a.m. like here, that's when we started the injection of liquidity and we started pushing down. We held this level for several hours and then we broke it right at the open. And so zooming in now, again, we have our high volume node. We're looking for a break above and then look to fill this whole impulsive move back into this previous support, now broken, and looking to test this as resistance. And downside, we're looking at bottom edge of the node as support. NASDAQ, you can see a more bearish looking candle than ES. And here on the daily, big bearish weekly daily candle, closing right back into the 23,424. So overall, this candle is now confirming a lower high, because we have one candle with two lower candles on either side. So then that's the definition of a swing point. And so we're confirming a lower swing here. This is going to be now a very, very key level of support. If we have a strong breakthrough this level and the lows here, then we're looking at a retest of the 50 MA and potentially back into 23,112. Going into the 4 hour. You can see we're pretty much closing right at the bottom edge of this big weekly profile. Lots of support provided at this level. And in the long-term chart, this is our macro high volume node. We are holding, we do have these big cuts in volumes, but overall, this area here, 23,300s, that's the main cuts in volume, the main low volume node area that we're going to have in between these two nodes. Let me actually adjust this area and make it a little bit wider, because in reality, that is the main area that we are looking at. Okay, so right there. Overall, this is going to be now the main area of support, which will be right at the bottom edge of this node, and then we have this node below. So if we do have a strong close through this, then we're potentially looking to start trading and balancing within this lower high volume node area. And here we have the 50 moving average at this level as well. And then you can see the next daily level we talked about has been big support here on this swing low from weeks ago. 1 hour chart. So same thing in more detail. And you can see we still have this little area, this gap that we've not yet filled back. We almost filled it back on Tuesday, but we've not yet filled this in. This is the singles left from the previous Friday breakout on the Powell speech. And so this is the two main macro high volume node areas. So a strong close through this, and we're looking for a continuation into this 23,300s area. Now to the upside, we want to flip back this hourly level, 23,493. And then next would be 23,582, 23,629, which was the breakdown point here from Friday. And also we would be coming towards the top edge of the node as well, the macro node as well. Okay? Weekly profiles. So here you can see we're pretty much hanging off of this area, which has been a significant low volume node edge over the past few weeks. And then below this, you can see from 3 weeks ago, this big area here, which was also last week, some low volume node areas from this nodes here. And this area right here is right where we were talking about the breakout last Friday. So the potential to fill back in on this area and into the release point from here. If we go into the market profile, this is the area I'm talking about. The single prints that have yet to be filled in. B-shaped profile as well. Left on Friday's session. Upside, we do have a small single print, but nothing truly major there. Tick chart. We zoom out to Friday at the open. Pretty much started pushing down right from the open on Friday. Then consolidating from 5 into the 9:30 open. And right as New York open, pretty much a straight push down until like about the 10 o'clock hour. And we just ended up consolidating and forming this big high volume node here. So going into the 5-minute chart, just like ES, you can see strong level of support on the extended trading hours, 23,629. So this would be our overall 2 hourly targets up. And what I'm looking for at the open, you can see we have a longer term area of low volume node support, which lines up right with the session as well. So any move back around this daily level, 23,424, we want to find support here and break above, flip this as support, and just start pushing up for the higher hourly targets. If we have a strong breakdown through the bottom edge of the node, then we're looking for a backwards test and then coming for our next hourly and low volume node zones that we talked about. Okay, that's pretty much it. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you're having a great weekend, and I'll talk to you all soon.